Ask any parent and they'll tell you one big concern is keeping their kids safe. But what they may not realize is that the biggest risk to their children happens at or near home.
Careful.
Injuries from falling.
It's a huge problem and one of the leading reasons that kids present to the emergency room.
In fact, falls are the reason why half of all babies under the age of 1 get hurt. According to the CDC, about 8,000 children end up in emergency rooms due to a fall every day. That adds up to about 3 million kids a year.
The most common ways that they are injured is either falling off a counter in a baby carrier, rolling off a bed, rolling off a counter. The second is in those baby walkers that roll. They'll get to close to the edge of a staircase and they'll roll down the staircase. And then the last one is playground injuries, falling off a jungle gym.
Small children can also fall out of shopping carts and off of changing tables.
I'm a pediatric neurosurgeon, so I see a lot of head injuries, but there's also injuries to the extremities. They can break arms, break legs, and even have internal injuries sometimes. Face injuries are pretty common too. They fall face forward, sometimes not protecting themselves, and then get cuts or fractures of the face. The majority of the fractures are skull fractures that we see where kids are falling off, rolling off countertops, and those injuries are generally fairly minor, meaning we watch them overnight, just make sure that they're doing okay and then dismiss them the following day. That's by far the most common type of injury.
The more serious injuries come from falls out of windows.
The other thing really important, and sometimes it's even required in some states, is to have window locks so they're not able to fall out of a window. A screen is not enough. They'll just pop right out of a screen and fall despite that. There's so many examples of that. In fact, in one study, about 83% of the kids that fell out windows had screens in the windows. It doesn't prevent them from falling out of the windows at all.
Deep breaths.
So what do you do if your child takes a fall?
Watch their behavior. If they fall, hit their head, bump their head, it's a little bruise, that's probably not significant enough to require medical attention. But if you feel that they're not behaving right, they seem more irritable, they're throwing up, they seem like they're not with it, then those are the reasons to bring them into the hospital. If they fall and hit their head and they're not waking up, for instance, if they're non-responsive, they're not moving anything, those are very worrisome signs.
There are some things you can do to prevent an accident. Never put a child in a carrier on a counter. Always put them on the floor. On the changing table or a couch or a bed, keep one hand on your child the entire time. Make sure you have baby gates at the top and bottom of your stairs. Strap children into shopping carts and never leave them alone. And be sure playgrounds have soft protective mats, not concrete, and only allow them on age-appropriate equipment. With a little bit of prevention, kids can be kids. Holly Furr for CNN, Rochester, Minnesota.